Mark's mind felt like a prison. Negative thoughts, regrets about his past, fears of failure, and harsh self-criticism chained him to endless turmoil. Every day, his mind raced like a chaotic storm, leaving him drained and hopeless. One morning, seeking an escape, he drove aimlessly and stumbled upon a forest tucked away from the city. The air smelled of pine and fresh earth, and at its heart, Mark found a tranquil pond where an old monk sat silently. The monk's serene presence drew Mark closer. Hesitantly, he asked, "How are you so calm?" "My mind never stops. It's like a storm I can't escape." The monk gestured to the pond. "Do you see the lotus? It blooms in muddy water yet remains unstained. Your mind is like this pond. Its surface may ripple with thoughts, but stillness lies underneath. Would you like to learn how to find that stillness?" Desperate for relief, Mark nodded. The monk smiled kindly. "Sit with me. Close your eyes. Begin by watching your breath. Let it anchor you." Mark settled by the pond, folding his legs awkwardly. As he breathed in deeply, he noticed the tension in his body. His shoulders were tight, his jaw clenched. Slowly, he let the breath soften him. At first, Mark's thoughts roared louder than ever. Memories of past failures surged. Voices in his mind accused him, "You're not good enough. You always mess things up." He almost opened his eyes to leave, but the monk's voice interrupted his thoughts. "Imagine these thoughts as clouds passing across the sky. They appear, linger, and then drift away. You are not the clouds. You are the sky, vast, calm, and untouched." Mark focused on his breath again, watching the thoughts rise and fall. Slowly, he noticed moments of silence between them. The storm inside him began to subside. After some time, the monk asked, "What is the root of your suffering?" Mark frowned. "I don't know. I just feel like I'm always failing, that I'm not enough." The monk nodded. "Often, suffering comes from clinging to desires, fears, or expectations. Look closely. What are you holding on to that hurts you?" Mark reflected deeply. He realized he clung to the belief that his worth was tied to success, that failure defined him. "I'm holding on to fear," he admitted. Fear of being seen as weak, of not being enough. The monk's eyes softened. Awareness is the first step to freedom. When you see your chains clearly, you can begin to break them. Now, the monk continued, replace judgment with compassion. Just as you would comfort a friend, comfort yourself. Speak kindly to your heart. Negativity loses its power in the face of love. Mark struggled with this at first. How could he forgive himself for all his mistakes? Yet, with time and practice, he began to soften. Each morning, he reminded himself, "I am human. I am allowed to make mistakes." Slowly, the self-criticism faded, replaced by understanding. Weeks turned into months. Mark continued his practice, meditating daily by the pond and applying the monk's lessons to his life. He noticed that negative thoughts still came, but they no longer overwhelmed him. Like the monk had said, they were just passing clouds. One evening, Mark returned to the pond to watch the sunset. The lotus floated gracefully, its petals catching the last light of the day. He realized his challenges hadn't disappeared, but his relationship with them had transformed. Instead of resisting, he had learned to flow with life's imperfections. Mark looked out over the water and whispered, "Like the lotus, I rise,